for it. So whatever's happening in the market, if you're not looking to sell your home in the next few years, it's not really a major effect on you, which I hope many of you don't need to, because the prices will continue to soften. Okay, if you are thinking and planning or needing to sell your home in the next year, the sooner the better, because 09 will continue to soften. Not because that's a negative forecast, because the wheels are already in motion for a lot of things that are happening. The prices have softened about 20% in Sherman Oaks. In the Center Valley, Van Nuys, North Hollywood, other parts, it's 30, 35, 40% drop, because a lot of those buyers bought with loans that they couldn't afford in the first place, and they're losing their homes. And that's the sad part of the story. That's going to continue, because that ball is already rolling. That's already in motion. So if you do sell your home, be smart, get it priced to sell. Some of the banks who have struggled with what to do with these failing assets, they have either failed to work out the short sale, and then they end up going into a foreclosure, taking back the asset, and then reselling it. And that's a very expensive proposition. And they end up really being worse off than if they would have negotiated with the borrower and accepted the short sale. So they've learned their lesson. What they're trying to do now is what's called forward pricing pre-approved short sales, where they go to the borrower and say, listen, stay in the house, you don't have to make the payment, we will accept a lower price than what you owe us, but don't move out and trash the house, we don't want to take it back. So that's what's happening. They're trying to stop this free fall. But long story short, there's not a lot of that happening in Sherman Oaks. But it affects you if you're going to sell your home, because a lot of the buyers that come into Sherman Oaks were coming from neighborhoods that they want to relocate into Sherman Oaks. Well, those buyers are not going to be as readily available, because they won't have the trade-up money that they thought they would have had to sell their house for $6 and buy a house for $1.2. So there's definitely a factor there. The other factor is when you hear about the interest rates at 4.5%. Okay, that's for up to 6 1/4, isn't that? Okay, but you know, homes in Sherman Oaks, most of them are higher than that. So those rates are what, 7%?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, a home to get a loan for 800 or 900 or $1 million is 7%. So all those factors are going to come into play into the continuing softening of the prices going into this year and maybe into next. So that's what's happening there in Sherman Oaks. I'm going to end it there. Just say I don't live in Sherman Oaks at this point. I moved. I love it here. I still miss a lot of parts of it. But my wife actually told me where I was moving, okay? And I live in Calabasas now. So anyway, but I still love you guys in Sherman Oaks. Thank you.
All right. We have a couple questions. Two people actually asked the same question. This is going to be for Dean. Nancy Khalil and Tom Capps. They ask, will the proposed expansion of Fashion Square, how will the proposed expansion impact the businesses on the boulevard? And Tom asks, with the proposed Westfield's expansion, what does the panel think will be the impact of Ventura Boulevard business?
In my opinion, I think that the expansion of Fashion Square and such, it's a different format, it's a different customer than the Ventura Boulevard customer. I think that they float back and forth, but there's always going to be a want and need for the smaller business, the boutique business. Clearly, mall rents are substantially higher, and more importantly, for those of you that may or may not know, the mall has mall hours, and if you elect to locate in a mall, you're subject to opening and closing with their hours.